So we're doing a shit ton of packing, and we're excited as hell. There's a lot of stuff, and that's not even counting for all the things on the other side. So this main thing is just my friend Joey, also known as Sakaider Yujin.
Hi.
Had his own video on the armor, and he asked, hey, do I want to show off my armor? I don't need much more explanation than that. I always love showing off my kit. My armor's from Ultralight Armours by Pavel. He's basically the guy who does Deerthorn's Brigandine armor. I also got from him custom legs and arms that you'll see. I wish I could recommend you buy them, but unfortunately, ever since the war with Ukraine and Russia kicked off in 2022, he has been unable to do custom arms and legs because those require fresh material, whereas the body armor can be done with borderline scrap armor. So I really wish I could recommend it, but I cannot because he cannot fulfill that order. But if you want to get the Brigandine armor, cannot recommend it enough. So I have already put on my sabatons and my greaves. So especially if you're considering going fully heavy armored like I do, there's that classic joke of you always need the squire, and that is true. I will need Sakaider Yujin's help to get my arms on. But one thing that you can really do to help yourself, start from the bottom and work your way up, because my torso's still free and available. Oh, so again, like this is the stuff that Pavel made for me bespoke and to my measurements. I love it so much. I'm so sad they can't do the whole thing. Hey, but yeah, the metal that these are made out of is pure titanium. I love these so much. Here, get them moving. Like, next up, I'm gonna be coming back with the upper legs on. All right. So these are the chassis. So these probably have given me the most trouble out of the entire armor. It has nothing to do with Pavel. It's like one of the things that when you make custom armor that you really got to do, if you can, is you need to go to the armorer to get it like pre-fitted. To like not pre-fitted, but like check the fitting, because there's always little things that you can't quite tell. Pavel lived at the time, I do not know if he lives there now, in Vladivostok, and I live in California in America. And well, after 2022, not happening. So the issue I ran into for the longest time was that when I took a knee, it hurt. Like I had to really pad it up and all that, but I've been slowly working with like the different straps and configurations that I've got, and I've also been reducing the amount of padding that I'm wearing underneath. I'm just like that. I start off with way too much protection, and I bring it down to what's actually appropriate. I don't know who programmed me like that, I just am. But yeah, these really are like the big thing that sells, because like doing legs is like one of the hardest things to do for armor, to make it like smoothly work together. That is really difficult to do, and he did a fantastic job of it. So yeah, I have added stuff like the suspenders here, which I'm going to be fidgeting with for pretty much the rest of the day, finding out where the actual straps should be for me, because the name of the game with armor, especially the heavier you go and the more involved you get, is weight distribution. Some of the cheaper armors will have a thing where they put all their weight on your shoulders, and these are doing a good amount of stuff on my shoulders. So like that's why I'm fidgeting with it, because I don't want too much. But like I had an experience where I took my armor to an anime convention, and it was like a pretty okay assortment of epic armory style armor. So like I had like a $80 cuirass, I had like, and basically nothing was, no individual pieces were above $120. And I did not tighten things down the way they should, and I walked around in that stuff for 5 hours. Ow! That hurt. So when I come back, we're gonna put the jacket on and the mail on. So I've got my army jacket and my mail on. The mail's always been something that I've had a harder time trying to integrate, because a lot of the other gambesons on the market are usually pretty thick. People don't want to get hit too hard. So trying to get this to fit has always been a tricky part, but I've changed to an arming jacket, which you can see, yeah, like you can see underneath here, provides a little bit of padding, but more importantly, provides locations for ties for my armor. So like, the mail that I've got is from a company called Ring Mesh. I jokingly refer to it as like the closest thing we've got to mithril armor. This is shark mail. So it's stainless steel, it's pretty tight woven links, and this stuff is about 5 pounds, which, especially for those of us that are traveling, this is so nice as far as weight goes. And before I figured out my armor setup, I would just let members of my guild wear the ring mesh as their armor because I couldn't make it work. And so I only brought it because I knew someone was going to borrow it. It's so nice. It's good bang for your buck. Like this, for the amount of coverage you get, even if it's +1, compared to like leather armor, where you might have to buy like 2 to 4 pieces, depending on how nice you want to make it, to get the same level of coverage. The only downside is it does that. And by Bico rules, armor only covers what it covers. So if you do decide to be like a male fighter, it would not be a terrible idea to, whatever your setup is, find a way to tie your mail to your armor or your clothing underneath. I am not doing that because I've got stuff that goes over the top, and this is meant to cover the gaps. This is a Brigandine. If you're not familiar with it, it's a bunch of plates riveted to an outer layer, usually leather, cloth, velvet, something along those lines, depending on how much money you want to throw into it. It's possibly, probably, almost certainly the inspiration for studded leather in Roll20 games like Dungeons & Dragons, Pathfinder, or any of those jazz. Because, especially if you have leather on the top, you can't see this stuff underneath. So the reason our guild goes with the Brigandine for the most part is it is super easy to put on and off. Because it's super flexible. I can bend down very easily compared to most armor because with all the plates underneath, it flexes. Whereas a cuirass, like a plate that goes around your chest and your back, looks fantastic. It's what I went with some of my first armors. But the thing about plate armor is it's not flexible. So that's why the guild has gone with this. Plus, you can drip it out in your colors so that way you can easily identify who's who on the battlefield. The biggest thing you need to do, though, no matter what body armor you do, again, weight distribution. Get a belt. Get a good belt. Like Pavel sells these as well. And make it as tight as you can. You want to make it borderline uncomfortable when you are pulling it on, because once you're done and you cinch it together, this is going to take all the weight of the armor and bring it into your natural waistline and off your shoulders. So right now, with the way I have my armor set up, the only thing pulling on my shoulders is my chaussas. Everything else is kind of just being worn as normal. So now, Joey's going to be helping me, because at this point, if I try to do stuff with my arms, my armor does a fantastic job of giving me range of movement, but I've got a limit right here. So yeah, he'll be helping me out in the cut, and that's something I do want to warn you about if you're getting armor for the first time. Check the cut on your sleeves. Most cheap armor cuts off very close to your shoulders. Early days, when I had that $80 cuirass, and I would use like a longsword, I would have to hold it like this because the body armor would not let me bring it any closer. But because we have the Brigandine and it's a lot better quality, I can do a much more proper stance with my sword. All right, so got the band braces on. Yeah, ties up here, does most of the heavy lifting. a couple of straps on the inside to really hold it together. But yeah, looks like that's a lot of open space, right? Well, you notice right here, especially if I'm holding a spear, you can't really see on the inside, but every once in a while, I might be doing something like this, and then, well, that's all open. So that's why I wanted to get mail underneath it without being ridiculous. We're gonna now grab the spalders or the pauldrons, whichever you want to go with. Pauldrons tend to be bigger, spalders tend to be smaller. But yeah, these are much simpler. They just tie here, strap here, cover up to here. This is pretty much the armor that I got from Pavel, minus the underlayers and the mail. The Brigandine, the legs, the ship legs, the arms, it's so nice. Like this whole thing, very easy to move around in for me. It doesn't really restrict my mobility. Obviously, disadvantage on stealth checks because it's a little loud. But you know what? I'm heavily armored. I kind of don't care about stealth at this point. So, this is my kit that I wear for the battlefield. Probably not bringing the spear because I have yet to figure out how to transport this. We have a couple of ideas, but nothing that we can implement this year. But yeah, this is, yeah, the vast majority of my kit is from Quilted Armours, Ultralight Armours by Pavel, and Armstreet. So like Quilted Armours did a lot of my underlying armor. Steel Mastery did the harness for my legs. Pavel did the vast majority of the armor. The only things Armstreet is my helmet and my gauntlets, which I love this helmet, by the way. I recommend just getting the helmet. I have gotten the gorget. It's a little too heavy for what I can pull off effectively. But this is perfect, especially since I wear glasses. I don't have to take them off with a close helmet. It's a nice sun hat. It protects me from the rain. Covers the back of my head and the sides of my head very well. And when you're on the battlefield, you might see me in something like this. Pretty decently covered, all things considered. So that's the kit. Thank you so much for watching all this. We have a lot of packing to do, but it's going to be worth it. We're so excited to be coming back, especially the cameraman, and we're going to see you out there.